Good day, everyone. Today, we will be talking about the Chapter 3, which is the Instructional Delivery Systems and Educational Technology. The educational landscape today is more dynamic than ever. One dimension of educational dynamism is the emergence of various instructional delivery modes. So, there are different ways of teaching nowadays with the help of technology. In this chapter, you will come across the different instructional delivery systems through the lens of educational technology. Now, let's proceed to Lesson 10, which is the flexible learning. So, at the end of this lesson, you are expected to first compare and contrast the features of three major categories of instructional modes. Second, explain the features of flexible learning. And third, generate some strategies to enhance the flexibility of learning through technology. During the pandemic, face-to-face classes has been suspended due to the safety of the students. So, flexible learning has become the new ways of teaching during such times. We consider the technology to be an inevitable partner in the learning process. So now we will going to discuss about the fundamental concepts on instructional delivery. Before delving into flexible learning as a feature of instructional delivery, let us first understand the fundamental concepts of how we deliver instruction in the context of space and time. So, the instructional delivery is the mode on how teaching and learning take place. So, in short, this is how the students receive the knowledge. There are three major ways on how we can deliver instruction nowadays. First, face to face learning. Second, blended learning. Third, distance or remote learning. So, the first one is the face to face learning. It is one of the instructional delivery modes where course content and learning material are taught in person to a group of students. This allows for a live interaction between a learner and an instructor. It is the most traditional type of learning instruction. The second one is the blended learning. It is the merging of face-to-face instruction and computer-mediated learning environments. Under the blended learning on the figure, is first the flipped classroom, where the students have the instruction at online and do their activities on the face-to-face. The second one is the hybrid learning, where students relies on both online and in-person instruction to have. And the third one is the station rotation, where students rotate on a fixed schedule among various modalities, which usually include three learning stations. First is the online learning, second, face-to-face instruction, and third, group projects. For example, a learner may complete an assignment online, then participate in a group activity, and finally, engage in teacher-led instruction. The third one is the distance or remote learning. It refers to any education provided without the teacher and students being physically present together. In the past, high schools and universities offered correspondence courses as a method of distance learning. So, under the distance or remote learning on the figure was first the modular, in which the instructions and activities was already on the module. The second one is online. The instruction and assessment will be conducted on any online platforms. The third one is homeschooling. It is where parents or tutors teach children at home instead of having them formally educated in a public or provided school setting. And also the media mediated learning and open learning are also included in the distance or remote learning. So, there are key differences among the three categories of instructional delivery modes. First is the interaction schedules of the students' engagement in interaction. It depends upon the modality of instructional delivery that the students and teachers' interactions can either happen in real time or at differing times. There are two types of interaction schedules, and these are the synchronous learning and asynchronous learning, where the synchronous learning refers to the teaching learning experience that happens at the same time. You can physically interact with your classmates and teachers. In short, the synchronous learning is happen through face-to-face class, while the asynchronous learning is an interaction schedule that happens at different times. You only have an online interaction with your classmates and teachers. The second key difference among the three instructional delivery is the space. Space refers to a setting for a learning environment, or a place in which teaching and learning occur. So, the first space is the physical space, like the classroom where most face to face learning takes place. Second is the online or virtual space, which can only be possible by the power of internet connectivity. It uses an online platform like a learning management system or LMS, where students and teachers can interact at a distance. Third is the flexible space, where students can choose where their will take place, just like a module, which becomes your flexible learning space.
Elements of flexibility of learning. How can we make learning more flexible when selecting a delivery mode that is appropriate, such as the instructional design that is more student centered? So, the foundation of flexibility learning is giving students choices in their education. It could be the pace, the location, the time, and the content. Those are just few examples of these options. So, according to Betty Collins, Vander Wendy 2002, both discuss a few factors to take into account when trying to achieve flexibility in a way that is instruction is delivered. First is where and when teacher and student interaction will occur. As a constructive working relationship between the instructor and the pupil, and it's an attempt to win each other's respect and trust, building a stronger relationship where both can actually be involved in getting to know the student better, giving them options and motivating them to learn more every day. Second is what forms of help can be given as a student support. In particular, students with learning differences have faced numerous challenges as a result of the pandemic. These are several ways we can help students. First is be patient with them, spend time in terms of developing their social skills, and help them deal with changes, and lastly, establish rapport. Third, what technology is available and will be acquired to be used. So, based on each student's strengths and shortcomings, teachers can use adaptive learning software to design unique learning pathways for them. This can motivate students to take charge of their own education and help them feel more connected to the subject matter. Fourth is which among of the communication channels is available for all to use. Fifth is what are the components of instructional design suited for the instructional delivery mode. So, planning for each stage of instruction should incorporate feedback, which is an essential part of teaching that will help students learn more effectively. So, no matter how instruction is delivered, there are ways to ensure flexible learning that is suggested by Denise Bradley, Peter Nonan, Helen Nugget, Bill Scales 2008, and the Distance Education Journal 2017. Firstly, is designing the learning experience. Teachers need to make all students can make sure that they can afford the objectives and activities that the instructor or the teacher chose. Second is designing content learning interaction. This is when, even in situations where there are less teacher interaction or supervision, educators must modify the way they present the material to ensure that all students can understand it. Third is structuring learner engagement with the instructional environment. This is when they are choosing educational materials and interactive techniques where educators need to weigh all their options. For example, in terms of areas, what are easily accessible and what are these electronic devices that are portable that students can actually use in terms of learning or whenever they are learning. Fourth is structuring learner teacher feedback engagement. This is when instructors often provide their pupils with realistic options for contacting their mentors or their tutors. They can also decide on the most effective delivery strategy so that students can get feedback on their academic achievement. And lastly is establishing learner engagement with an assessment of learning. This is where pupils or learners must be aware of their options of earning their grades in their course or their coursework.
So now, let's talk about the increasing flexibility using technology in education. First, educational technology has been considered as another common ground of all categories of instructional delivery. It means that technology is not only applicable to online or distance learning. What matters the most in the use of technology is that learners can have access to all required technology to be used in instruction. As we can observe, even the school has a face-to-face learning. Their teachers will sometimes give an online quizzes, online exams, assignments that they'll give instructions through Messenger. Having technology on instructional delivery is still putting the learners at the core. That ensures increasing flexibility in using technology in education. So the second one, matching the student's need and the appropriate accessible technology to use. As a teacher, it is very important that they will ensure that they meet the learner's need on the kind of instructional delivery they have. For instance, utilizing web-based and highly sophisticated software or applications that do not match the learner's need should not be utilized in constructing the student's knowledge. The technology should be used in addressing the students in gaining knowledge, in assessing their learning progress, or in producing an output. Because in teaching, the main goal is to meet the learner's need and ensure that they learn something from the teacher. The third one, or the last one, teachers need to match the use of educational technology principles to the pedagogies that they use. So, Norton et al. Cautioned that if teachers do not ensure that their pedagogical strategies match the technology that they use in any instructional delivery mode, it may cause greater harm in learning. So, if the teacher uses a PowerPoint presentation to discuss her topic as a instructional material, she is expected to mediate his or her teaching by using any technological platform that triggers the students to participate. This will increase the level of flexibility using technology in education.
A pleasant day to all of you. I am Nicole Grace T. Antonio. At this juncture, we will be proceeding to the next lesson of Chapter 3, which is Lesson 11, Blended Learning. Before we commence, allow me to read to you first the learning targets or objectives. At the end of this lesson, you are expected to identify the strengths and limitations of blended learning as a delivery mode, differentiate the models of blended learning, and design a sample lesson plan or daily lesson log to be used in a blended learning mode. Without further ado, let's begin. Technology has undoubtedly changed the way instruction is delivered. From traditional in-person classes, instruction has come to evolve into granting students to have their own learning space when combined with technology. An apparent example or product of technology's influence on instruction is blended learning. Blended learning is the merging of face-to-face instruction and computer-mediated environments or web-based instruction. Simply put, blended learning is the combination of face-to-face learning and online learning. An example of this is when a school conducts 3 days of in-person classes and 2 days of virtual or synchronous classes in every week instead of the traditional 5-day-a-week face-to-face classes. However, blended learning is not limited to the merging of those two modalities. Blended learning may be a combination of 2 or more sub-modes of instructional delivery. But technology is a constant and is always present in the scene. For example, it may be an amalgamation of face-to-face classes, online classes, and learning through the video lessons or reading materials posted asynchronously. So, Ramon Magsaysay Memorial Colleges is an institution that uses blended learning modality as its instructional delivery mode combines face-to-face, online, and asynchronous learning. Once technology is no longer involved in the mode of instruction, it is no longer blended learning. However, merely using technology in providing information to the learners through using technology does not necessarily translate to blended learning, such as if a teacher uses email or even messaging platforms like Messenger to send handouts or PDF, then discuss them in the classroom the following day. No. Blended learning requires a solid and sound instructional design and pedagogical principles in implementing this modality. Next, we will be tackling some of the features of blended learning instructional delivery. First on the list, it considers the power of online and offline mode of learning. Nowadays, students learn more with the presence of technology. Classes can be conducted online in the event that physical classrooms are not available or conducive, such as during pandemics or disasters like earthquakes. However, the assistance of physical presence and interaction is also important. It allows more direct teaching-learning process and richer understanding of the lessons through the teacher and other learners' body language, and interaction is also more authentic and effective. This makes blended learning a vehicle of flexibility and personalization of learning. The second feature is it ensures teacher support and engagement. Because blended learning requires the teachers to quickly address and respond to the learners' online tasks such as web chats, discussion forums, or if they have queries regarding online assignments, it amplifies the engagement between the teachers and the learners. Blended learning also prompts teachers to constantly prepare instructional materials and facilitate in-person activities, which is a manifestation of increased teacher support brought by blended learning. The third one, it promotes or fosters independent learning. In blended learning, students learn individually and use the learning materials according to their learning styles. The process of learning is not linear or limited, but rather flexible, especially during schedules of online classes. Hence, students can learn at their own pace, their preferred time, and the learning method that works best for them, be it studying using mnemonics, studying at night, or etc. The fourth and final feature is it supports peer interaction. Contrary to what one might think that lessened face-to-face delivery of instruction and the incorporation of technology in education decreases the interaction among students, blended learning, in fact, facilitates student-to-student interaction. These interactions are made possible through online activities like sharing ideas on discussion forums, collaborative writing, like for example in Google Docs. It is possible for students to edit or write on a document simultaneously, and also peer tutoring through technological tools. For instance, pupils can help each other grasp concepts or lessons by conducting online meetings in Google Meet or Zoom, wherein they can assist and teach one another the topics that they find hard to understand. Additionally, peer interaction increases motivation to learn because they can influence one another to learn, and thus, this develops a spirit of collaboration among learners.
So there are four elements of blended learning. So the first one is capacity building. So teachers are equipped with pedagogical and technological skills to implement and sustain highly effective blended learning environments. So meaning teachers are expected to have mastery of the content or the technological skills that are needed to implement the blended learning as an instructional delivery system. They are required to have the skills so that they can implement the instruction effectively. So the second one is the technology utilization. So teachers use technology to enhance and redefine instruction meaningfully. So in the past few decades or years, I must say years, teachers use traditional methods in teaching or traditional instructional design, which is the paper and pencil or the visual aids that are posted in the board that is manually written. But nowadays, teachers use PowerPoint presentations to present the lesson and discuss it with the students, or use online platforms to conduct quizzes and assignments. So a thoughtful approach to the specific technology chosen and how it is deployed is critical. So, in choosing what material to use when you are teaching, it is really crucial because you need to identify the needs and the the needs of the students, and it should be aligned in the topic requirements. So the third one is student ownership. So students become agents of their learning process with greater access to tools, resources, and progress data. So it means that the teachers need to plan intelligently about the activities and the class routines that will help enhance the students' responsibility to learn. So the teachers should help the students to make sure that the students will learn from themselves. So the last one or the fourth one is the data management and usage. So the emergence of technology in classes presents an unprecedented opportunity for teachers to not only obtain data on a more frequent basis, but also to analyze that data and use it to adjust instruction accordingly. So here in the data management and usage, the use of technology is very important in gathering data, or what we call as the evaluation of the students, or the evaluation of the performance of the students, not only in collecting but also in analyzing the data, and also to know the progress of the students for the whole class.
And now, we will be moving on to the models of blended learning. In the field of teaching, lesson plans are extremely significant. A teacher cannot conduct classes without first planning his or her lessons. In using blended learning, one cannot immediately skip to constructing a lesson plan. There are models of blended learning which the teachers can choose from depending on the setup that addresses the students' needs and the topic requirements to serve as their guide in writing lesson plans. So, the first one is rotation model. In this model, students rotate on a fixed schedule of online learning and face-to-face learning. The highlight is learning on a fixed schedule of two alternating modes. The rotation model has four variations: the station rotation, lab rotational model, flipped classroom, and individual rotation. Station rotation is a model in which students apply rotation model but within a classroom or group of classrooms which serve as the stations. Lab rotation is a variation in which students go to the computer lab for their online learning schedules during rotations. Flipped classroom, as the name suggests, is a variation of rotation model where instruction and homework is swapped. Instead of learning inside the classroom and doing assignments at home, students learn online away from the learning site or the classroom, such as through video lessons and reading materials, and then attend face-to-face classes to accomplish tasks facilitated by the teacher. Lastly, individual rotation is a rotation model variation in which each student has an individualized schedule. The teacher is the one who sets the schedules, or it could be an algorithm like digital platforms or digital spin the wheels. So, on to the second model of blended learning. The next one is flex model. In this model, most of the lessons are delivered online, and online learning is the backbone of learning. However, the teacher is available for face-to-face assistant or consultation. But it depends on the teacher, as some supplement their students' online learning on a daily basis, whereas others only provide little face-to-face enrichment or only when it is needed. The third one is a la carte model. In this model, the students take an entirely online course to accompany the experiences they have from face-to-face classes. This model, however, differs from full online learning because it is not a whole school year experience. The fourth and the final model of blended learning is enriched virtual model. In this, the students have required face-to-face learning sessions with their teacher, and then they will complete the remaining coursework remotely. Remote teaching, in this case, refers to the use of online technology in learning. In summary, in an enriched virtual model, students seldomly meet face-to-face with their instructors.
So as the educational setup is constantly changing because of technology, the tools that the teachers and the students use inside and outside the classroom must also change. So although most of the teachers were taught with traditional tools such as books, papers, and pencils, students nowadays embrace a new set of tools for communicating, collaborating, sharing, and learning, which is with the help of technology. The students are more on relying on the technology. So if you do not incorporate the tools that students rely on outside the school into the classroom, they will surely find learning boring and irrelevant to their lives. So here in this table are some of the tools you should at least be familiar with in preparation for teaching using blended delivery instruction. So as you can see in the table, there are 3 columns and 4 rows. So in the first column, it is the critical learning space. The second one is the traditional classroom, and the third one is the digital classroom. So here in the critical learning space, there are 4 stated: information, discussion, collaboration, and creation. So here in the information, when delivering the information in the traditional classroom, it is all on the board. It is written on the board. It is pasted on the board in the traditional classroom. Whereas in the digital classroom, the information that is shared inside the classroom can be found in websites, blogs, homepage of LMS, text box, or chat messages. So in the digital classroom, it is more on online platforms that is used to deliver information. So in the discussion, in the traditional classroom, discussion is when the whole class is having a real-time conversation about the topic discussed. While in the digital classroom, it is an asynchronous discussion. So it means that the students um, will discuss within themselves and study within themselves about the topic that is um, said. So here in the collaboration, in the traditional classroom setup, there are small group work at desk. So maybe the teacher will have the students to group themselves into particular number, but in the digital classroom, it is collaboration tools. So these collaboration tools can be the Microsoft Offices, so like Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, and many more. So in creation, so in the traditional classroom, it is limited to tools and supplies in the classroom, because in creation you need to build something, you need to create. In order to create, you need tools and materials. So the in the traditional classroom, it is limited for you to create. But in the digital classroom, here is there is no limit in tools. There are a lot of online applications, Chrome and extensions and web tools to create presentations, artwork, infographics, and websites. So you will not really you will not it is not difficult to create when it comes to digital classroom.
Now, we'll be discussing Lesson 12, Flipped Classroom. But before I begin the discussion, allow me to read first the learning objectives. At the end of this lesson, you're expected to describe the features and characteristics of a flipped classroom, analyze the strengths and weaknesses of a flipped classroom as an instructional delivery, and generate online and offline technology aids for flipped classroom. So, good morning everyone. I am Jhade L, and today we are going to tackle about flipped classroom, which is the lesson 12 of the book. If you have one, please go to page 59 and explore with me. So, when we say flipped classroom, ano yung naaalala natin sa tinatawag nating flipped classroom? Or have you encountered the word flipped classroom before? So, if you haven't, today we are going to discuss what is flipped classroom. So, sino ba sa inyo dito ang love ng assignments? Yung assignments na tipong sa bahay lang gagawin, or who are some of here love to watch video clips ng mga lessons, and then pagpasok sa school is hindi na magkakaroon ng lectures. Sino sa inyo ang love ng ganitong process? Would you love that process of learning? If so, then you will enjoy flipping your classroom. So in these lessons, we will talk about flip classrooms and paano ito ma-optimize ng teknolohiya para ma-achieve ang mga benefits. And also, we are going to dive deep to this kind of learning so that maintindihan natin. And then, after this, we can answer the questions if flipped classrooms are preferred by us in terms of mode of learning. So let's dive deep into this lesson together. So to continue our discussion, if we have books, we can see that there is a term na nakalagay dyan, which is the rotation model. So when we say rotation model, it is when the learners rotate on fixed schedules of independent online study and face-to-face class environment. So ito about the rotation of schedules. So nangyayari yung rotation of schedules if may mga certain situations talaga na nangangailangan talaga ng rotating of schedules. And when we say also flipped classroom, it is one of the variation of rotation model. So variation ito ng flip ng rotation model, which means swapping homework and instruction. So dito naman sa flipped classroom, we are swapping homework and instruction. When flipped classroom is well implemented, it can help students to ignite, to participate in being active in their learning environment. So, if na-implement ng maganda itong tinatawag nating flipped classrooms, it can give benefits to the students. It can help students to ignite their participation and being active in learning. So, for example, when students watch already the video of the lessons before entering the classroom, they can learn now independently. Yes, kasi if nasa bahay tayo and then nag-send yung teacher sa atin ng videos, tapos pinanood natin ito, nag-study tayo sa videos na ito, and the next day papasok tayo sa schools, hindi na tayo nahihirapang mag-learn. Diba? Hindi na tayo nahihirapang exploring lessons na yon kasi napanood na natin, nastudihan na natin, and that's the advantage of flipped classrooms. So, flipped classroom helps students to enhance their active participation in class. Yung sinabi ko pa kanina, and also it proves the increase of academic success and knowledge retention of students who were exposed to flipped classrooms. Flipped classrooms is mediated by technology, but not technology can also be the source of challenge. But also technology can also be the source of challenge to many teacher and students that aims to flip their classrooms. So kanina we've discussed that there are the positive sides of flipped classrooms. Just like what I'm saying kanina, flipped classrooms, if implemented well, it can boost students' participation and being active in learning. So, nakakapagbigay ito ng magandang benefits, just like nakaka-learn tayo independently since nabigyan naman sa atin yung videos or files ng lessons already. But we must always remember that things has two parts. We have the negative and the positive sides. So, kanina we've discussed the positive sides. However, there are negative sides of this, what we call flipped classrooms. So, today we are going to discuss some of them. So, flipped classrooms pose challenges to many teachers and students that aims to flip their classroom. So, some of these challenges are, there are older generation teachers that has a hard time adjusting to this kind of classroom settings. Yes, napapanahon ito ngayon. There are older generation teachers na mahirap pang mag-adjust sa ganitong mode of learning. So, if na-experience nyo ito, may mga teachers tayo noon na may kaedaran na din that having a hard time adjusting to this kind of teaching, having the hard time adjusting to this kind of technology kasi hindi naman ito sanay. Hindi sila sanay sa ganito. Kasi going back to these older days, ang pagtuturo talaga ay ginagawa traditionally face-to-face, naghaharap yung guro at teachers, and also they deliver their instruction face-to-face. However, these flipped classrooms pose a challenge for them kasi they need to adjust to the current technology that we have today. So that is one of the challenges that the teachers encounter if they are trying to flip their classrooms. So let's move on. Not so good results in flipping classrooms. So here are some reasons that the book gives why there are negative, or it is not necessarily to flip our classroom. So number one, because you think it will create a 21st century classroom. Yes, in the 21st century classrooms, we have these kinds of technology. And sabi nga ng iba, we are too being dependent on the technology. So one of the negative sides also that hindi maganda yung pag-flip ng classroom is nagiging 21st century ang classroom na mayroon tayo, which is sometimes hindi na natin nagagawa yung traditional face-to-face because we are too much relying on the technology that we have. So second, because you think you will become a cutting edge. Yes. Third, because you think flipping your classroom exempt you from being just low-rated teacher. Yes, kasi naman back before all din yung mga early days, ang teacher talaga is when he or she is giving instruction to the students, palang talagang want ng teacher na magkaroon talaga ng face-to-face discussion, nagbibigay ng mga assignments sa face-to-face to the students, and then magdi-discuss ng lessons face-to-face. So there are some teachers also that think na if nagtoo much depend tayo sa technology at ginagawa nating flip yung classroom natin, parang nafe-feel nila na mga low-rated teacher sila kasi hindi nila nafe-feel or hindi na nila nafe-feel ang kanilang tawag dito, essence of being a teacher. Yan na mga reasons na maraming mga teacher talaga na hindi gusto ang flip classroom kasi mas maraming teacher talaga preferably one na mag-conduct ng instructions na traditional kagaya noon. So number 4, because you think it will make your job easier. So, flipping class does not necessarily mean using the latest technology and education. Hence, teaching is much more than good content delivery. Flipping classroom is one instructional delivery mode. It does not make your job easier, yes, as compared with using purely face-to-face delivery. However, there are others says that napapadali lang daw ng flip classroom yung pagtuturo, but no, hindi po madali ang mag-conduct ng flip classroom. Mas madali po talaga yung pag-conduct ng face-to-face class, kasi sa face-to-face class wala tayong iniintindi just like the connection, wala tayong iniintindi just like the capacity of the students to learn the lesson of his own. There are other people kasi that says that mas madali ang trabaho ng teacher or mas madali ang pagkatuto, ang process of learning pag i-flip natin yung classroom natin, pag hinahayaan natin students na matuto ng kanyang sarili, sa kanyang sarili lamang na pagsisikap. But no, technology does not make the process of learning easier, diba? It does not make your job easier as compared with using purely face-to-face delivery. Yes, hindi madali ang pagkakandak ng or ang pagtatransform ng classroom into flipped classroom compared to face-to-face class. So, kanina we discussed the things that the reasons na matatawag natin pangit yung flipped classrooms. On this chapter or in this part, we will discuss the benefits of flipping our classrooms. So, number one, flipping helps busy students since the context is delivered via online video. Busy students can choose what time they will study in their most convenient time. So, kanina we discussed the different parang negative things about flipping our classroom, but in this chapter we're going to discuss the good sides of flipping our classroom. So, number one of that is the time. Kasi, when we say flipping classroom, kasi, such as for example, si teacher magbibigay ng video, instructional video para sa lessons na paparating sa kanyang students. So, with that being said, kontrolado ni students ang kanyang time. Kung anong time siya magsa-study, kung anong time siya maninood ng video. Kasi there are some busy students kasi may nagwo-working, may mga ginagawa. So, one of the benefits ng pagkakaroon ng flipped classroom is the students can manage that time. He can study or she can study the lessons, the videos, the multimedia materials na binigay ng teacher in his or her most convenient time. So, secondly, flipping helps struggling students. In this kind of classroom, teacher's role is to roam around and help those struggling students. It allows for the differentiation of learning. You can think of another way of lesson presentation to struggling students. So, flipping classroom also helps struggling students. Kasi naman, parang na-explore natin, diba? Na-explore ni teachers. It is the responsible of teachers na mag-roam around. And diba, it can help struggling students to become better. So, number 3, Flip classroom helps students of all abilities to excel because students can rewind the videos of the lessons. They can rewatch and read it anytime that they want at their own pace. Yes, since ang flip classroom, just like what example I've given earlier, pag nagbibigay si teacher ng video or any multimedia that relates to the lessons. So, one of the benefits or one of the advantage also of having a flipped classroom is pwede yung i-rewatch, balik-balikan ng students. Pwede niya yung balik-balikan ng tingin, balik-balikan ng study. And with that, pwedeng mag-excel yung students. Kasi, anytime, pwede niya ulit itong panuorin, and ito yung pwede siyang ulit mag-study as long as the file is there, as long as the video is still there. So, it can help students to excel. Kasi pwede niya yung mapanood, pwede niya yung ma-review sa panahon, sa time, at sa place na gusto ng student. So, number 4, flipping increase student-teacher interaction. Flipping class allows students and teachers to leverage the technology to increase interaction with students. Yes, also flipping our classrooms can help us interact not only sa ating mga classmates but also sa mga teachers, and it also helps us to explore the wonders of technology. So, number 5, flipping increase student interaction because the role of the teacher has been shifted. From lesson presenter to instructional coach. So when you use flipped classroom, you can spend more time talking to learners. Also, they work collaboratively. They trigger your communication to communicate with one another, thereby making learning smooth sailing. So in a flipped classroom, si teacher hindi na siya nag-act as lesson presenter. Rather, nag-act na si teacher as instructional coach. Since hindi naman si teacher, since sa flipped classroom, hindi na si teacher personally ang nagabigay o nag-present ng lessons. So, it can increase the interaction between student and student interaction since sila na yung naga-act as lesson presenter rather kay teachers. So, in summary of this, what we so-called flipped classrooms, there are negative and positive sides of this, diba? As I've mentioned earlier and as I've discussed earlier, may mga iba't iba tayong positive and negative sides of this. However, we should always remember that a certain student has its own preference of what learning mode he or she has. Kasi mag-matter naman ito sa ating capabilities, mag-matter naman sa capabilities ng students kung ano ang pamamaraan ng kanyang pagkatuto since we have different learning styles and different learning preference. So, although this kind of what we so-called flipped classroom has good benefits to the students, but still si students pa rin ang pipili, si students pa rin ang sa huli ang pipili ng kanyang preferred learning styles because as I mentioned earlier, may iba't iba tayong learning styles and learning preference. So, good day everyone. I hope you've learned something today and I will give this virtual floor to the next presenter. Good morning and may God bless us all.
Pillars of flipped classroom. Educators who use flipped classroom should ensure that the following pillars are observed, meaning these pillars are primordial requisite every time a flipped classroom is used as an instructional delivery. Observing this in the planning and implementing stages could ensure the success of flipping the classroom. Pillars of flipped classroom. Number 1 is flexible environment. As a teacher, you need to think about providing accessible resources and learning lessons that the student can deal with anytime and anywhere. For example, instead of relying solely on in-person lecture or textbook reading, teachers can offer recorded lectures and online reading that students can review at their own pace. Second is learning culture. This emphasizes the importance of creating a learning culture in which the focus is on the student active engagement in the classroom, meaning the learner should be kept engaged starting from the reading or viewing the materials to accomplishing the task. In that way, they can easily construct meaning even with less supervision from the mentors. Third is intentional content. The content of resources and teaching materials should be well planned according to the learner's learning styles and preferences. This is why the content should be intentionally chosen. Additionally, the technology used in the flipped classroom should also be chosen based on the learner's comprehension, familiarity, and utility. Remember, a flipped class does not have the mandate to use of videos, nor the videos have to be viewed at home. It is essential to recognize that the goal of flipped classroom is to put more attention on the learners and reduce the teacher's focus. And the last is professional educator. It is a wrong notion that using a flipped classroom minimizes teachers' presence. In fact, the teacher should embody the teacher should embody the characteristic of a professional educator throughout the duration of flipping the classroom. For instance, the teachers providing frequent feedback and also um, being accessible to learners and crucial component of a professional educator's role.
Using technology in flipping the classroom. Flipping the classroom involves using technology to deliver instructional content. It would be quite difficult to use flipped classrooms without the aid of technology. However, you should always remember that technology is a means to an end. Technology also has some downsides. The first 3 points are for the primary advantages of using technology, while the last 2 points refer to some downsides of technology. The first one is technology triggers high-level interaction. So when we say high level of interaction, it is where technology in flipping the class allows students to interact, collaborate, provide feedback, and conduct reflections both inside and outside the classroom through various tools and platforms. Second, the technology makes learning flexible. It makes learning flexible as it can increase flexibility in time, place, and pace of study. When technology is used in flipping the classroom, this is possible when the students view the recorded lectures and learn from online resources at their convenience. So next, the last part of the primary advantages of using technology. Technology aids the teacher's major task. It is because the teachers can easily access from technological tools where they can maximize their time in finding, creating, and distributing content appropriate for the students to learn from. Next, let's proceed to the 2 points which refer to some downsides of technology. Technology can fail or will fail. So a backup plan is crucial for utilizing and introducing technological tools in class. It is ensuring that Plan B is prepared in order to maximize academic time and maintain student interest. Lastly, familiarizing the use of technology may be difficult for some. So, teachers should provide comprehensive instructions on how students should use technology, such as demonstrating online learning platforms to ensure that not all students can easily navigate these tools, as not all are digital natives.
So, I will be discussing the lesson 13, which is the distance education and online learning. At the end of this lesson, you are expected to first trace the difference between distance education and online learning. Second, compare and contrast distance education and face-to-face instruction in terms of the learning and teaching features. And lastly, reflect on how technological innovations shape the evolution of distance education and online learning. Have you ever wondered how famous celebrities finish their secondary and tertiary education despite their hectic work schedule? Well, the rise of online education has been a game changer for celebrities and individuals with demanding schedules. Through distance learning and online courses, they can pursue their education while managing their careers. Technology serves as the backbone, enabling remote access to courses, lectures, and resources, allowing flexible learning anytime, anywhere. So, research in this field explores how technology influences the structure and accessibility of distance education, transforming the way people approach learning beyond traditional classrooms. Now, let's proceed to distance and online learning definitions and advantages. As the general definition, distance education uses non-traditional forms of teaching and learning in which the students and tutors have little or no face-to-face contact, a separation in space and often also in time. So, distance education encompasses a spectrum of teaching methods where instructors and learners are geographically separated. So this educational approach has evolved from early correspondence courses to modern online platforms like MOOCs or massive open online courses, utilizing various tools such as print, radio, television, teleconferencing, computers, and the internet. The key characteristic is the lack of face-to-face interaction, allowing teaching and learning to occur without physical proximity. So this broad range of delivery methods and the absence of direct contact
create a diverse and adaptable educational framework capable of integrating contemporary and unconventional teaching and learning approaches through different media. Kaya and Tan in 2014 posited many advantages of distance education. Some of them include the following. First, facilitation of mass education, provision of various education options, provision of information from the first source, responsibility to the individuals for their learning, facilitate the individuals for an independent learning, provision of an environment where maximum learning is possible, provision of cost-effective education, raising a standard in education program, and lastly, minimizing the inequality of opportunity. So, distance education, with its ability to transcend geographical limitations, offers cost effectiveness and flexibility, enabling learners to progress at their own pace from anywhere. So, this mode of learning not only fosters individualized learning, but also allows for simultaneous education across diverse locations, contributing to the concept of mass education. So, the accessibility and adaptability of distance education indeed make it a popular choice globally. When we talk about online distance education, on the other hand, we may deal with a broad spectrum of what can be termed as online distance education. Different terms have been related to this concept, like web-based learning, virtual learning, internet-mediated education, and computer-based education. So in 1986, Keegan advanced some salient foundations of distance education that include the following. So the first one is teachers and students are separated. This case deciphers only distance education from traditional face-to-face instruction. So this means online distance education and traditional face-to-face instruction differ in the mode of delivery. So online distance education occurs remotely via digital platforms, enabling learning from any location with internet access. While the traditional face-to-face instruction involves in-person classroom teaching, where students and teachers interact physically. So each method has unique benefits and challenges impacting student engagement, learning styles, and access to resources. Next is the academic institution can still influence the dynamics and implementation of online distance education. This discriminates against self-study and private tutoring. So, academic institutions play a pivotal role in shaping online distance education by designing the curriculum, providing resources, and setting guidelines. However, this structure can limit the autonomy of self-study and private tutoring as they may not align with institutional standards or support systems, creating disparities in access and recognition for alternative learning methods. Third is, in order to distribute academic content, teachers or facilitators should utilize a computer network. So, to disseminate academic content effectively, teachers or facilitators can leverage a computer network, enabling the seamless sharing of materials, assignments, and resources among students regardless of their physical location. And lastly, two-way communication is an essential element of online distance education through the use of a computer or web-based technology. In this way, students and teachers can reach each other anytime. So in online distance education, two-way communication via computer or web-based technology enables ongoing interaction between students and teachers. So this constant connection allows them to communicate, share information, ask questions, and provide support regardless of their locations or time zones. So it ensures accessibility and support at any time, fostering a dynamic learning environment.
Good day, everyone. This is the continuation of Lesson 13, Components, Limitations in the Future of Distance Education. ADE system must include all the components processes that make up distance education, including teaching, learning, communication, design, and management. DE, or distance education, also known as distance learning, is the education of students who may not always be physically present at school or when learners and the teacher are separated in both time and distance. Distance education or distance learning is, yes, separation between the teacher and the student in time and places. DE, or distance education system, is a component process that enabling the teacher and the student to make up in the discussion. To Moore and Kersley in 1996, their view of distance education indicates that the system would include the following components. So first is sources of knowledge. Sources of knowledge is, for example, faculty and technology. Second, course design mechanism. Course design mechanism is the process and the methods around creating quality learnings and environment experiences of the student. Third is course delivery mechanism, the way in which educational content is conveyed from instructor to student. Four is interaction between student and instructors, is the process of teaching and engaging the student with content to instructors. Five is system management. System management is the improves both administrative process and relation between student and the teachers. Six is learning environment. Learning environment is the serve in which student feel safe and supported their pursuit of knowledge as well as inspired by their surroundings. Take note, this means that structuring a distance education program does not only necessitate the use and provision of technology, because in distance learning or distance education we can also use modules. Taylor in Todd 1995 expanded that there exists a combination of interactive multimedia where students can use online resources and do asynchronous. But first, when we say asynchronous, it allows students to learn in your own schedule. Asynchronous is, it means the structure and the student in the course all engage with the course content at different times and also different location. Asynchronous is doesn't happen at the same time. So asynchronous conferencing through chats and other means. This is called the fourth era or flexible learning model in distance education. Flexible learning model is designed customizes learning environments to meet the needs of learners using both technology and non-technology. In this era, schools optimally use the power of information and communication technologies to distribute academic content, monitor students' progress and learning, and enhance student engagement with the teachers and their fellow students. Moreover, the flexible learning model in distance education uses the power of computer-assisted communication. So, with all these advantages, one question remains. What will be the future of distance education and online learning? These following issues are starting to shape the newest image of distance education. First, bringing an off-classroom environment within the online class. This refers to the use of virtual and augmented reality as a mushrooming features of distance and online education. And these features are greatly shadowed by the power of technology. First, when we say augmented reality, it is an interactive experiences that enhances the real world with computer-generated perceptual information, like for example, using softwares and apps. Gumagamit po tayo ng mga apps para po makamit po tayo virtual. So, online learning and distance education program po is now successful in using virtual laboratories through holograms and augmented reality. Meaning po is the student can now truly and accessibly feel and explore the off-classroom environment or other country experience in their learning. Tayo po ng mga student, madali na lang po sa atin na malaman kung ano po ang nangyayari sa labas ng ating school. Second, bring an in-class environment outside the online class. Because of the quick forward pace of technology, students can read ebooks or attend discussion forums at any time they want and everywhere they are. Kapag may online class po tayo, hindi po lahat ng classmate natin is nasa bahay. I'm sure yung iba po is nasa ibang lugar, especially pag may outing or namamalengke po sila or may kailangan po silang puntahan, they can meet pa rin po online. Pwede pa rin po sila makasalay sa klase through online class. Also, because student can choose when, where, and how they learn by selecting the time, place for their education. Third is edutainment. Learning can now become more inviting and engaging in order to increase students' motivation. Game-based technologies, interactive multimedia materials, and self-paced learning assessment tools can invite more students to embrace distance education or online education. Because teacher can use education and entertainment together in a variety of ways, including games or media and experiences. The last one is e-problem. Education may become less people-centered with the mushrooming numbers of projects based on self-paced courseware. Students can now have the liberty to pick the focus of their education, meaning students can now choose the sequence that they opt to learn aside from just following the series of courses designed for them. E-problem means become the thing that every student will have the freedom or liberty by choosing what specific courses or kind of education they will go through. Optionally, choosing that education that they will focus on aside from following the process of the courses they've chosen or they've choose.
Good day everyone. I will tackle about the educational technology and distance education. So first is educational theory and technologies play an essential role in the distant education and online learning. Educational theories offers the fundamental ideas required for successful instruction and learning. By integrating these theories into remote learning, instructional practices are guaranteed to be in line with accepted notions of engagement, learning, and cognitive growth. And an effective online learning experience are created by educators with an understanding on how learners learn. It makes it possible to design adaptive and flexible learning environments in order to enable students to access resources and engage in learning activities from a range of location and time zones. For people who can't attend traditional in-person classes or have a busy schedules, this flexibility is really significant. Second is relying on educational theories and experiences For professionals, the design of any distant learning system should consider its usability as the first step. Usability has a direct impact on users' happiness and engagement. An initiative and simple to use solution improves user satisfaction for both instructors and students as well by improving the entire user experience. It guarantees that a wider range of users, including those with a varied degrees of technological proficiency and different learning needs, can use the distant learning system. Contented and engaged users are more likely to actively participate in the learning process. A system that is easily navigable encourages diversity and assists a larger audience in pursuing education. Third is five major factors for the development of computer-aided learning were proposed in SHAR 2000. The five major factors were theories for learning, multimedia didactics, learning technologies, information modes in human-computer interaction, and lastly is user acceptance. Incorporating learning theories into computer-aided learning tools ensures that the design aligns with the established principle of how people learn. By applying these pedagogical theories, developers can create educational content and interactions that are more likely to engage learners and facilitate meaningful understanding. Multimedia elements, when used effectively, can enhance the learning experience of the students. Knowing about the multimedia didactics helps in incorporating visuals, auditory, and interactive elements to cater to different learning styles. This can result in increased engagement and retention of information. Next is the three principles of technological use in distance education and online learning. Number one is technology is more than machines. It should be seen as a tool to achieve a higher degree of knowledge and better. Technology includes systems for organizing, processing, and disseminating information. Software, database, and information networks are integral parts of technology that go beyond physical machines. These systems enable the storage and retrieval of vast amounts of information, contributing to knowledge creation and dissemination. Number two is technology is not just a resource. This means that the teachers need to plan and structure instructional delivery by maximizing technology as a resource, as a platform, and as an assessment tool and the like. Technology is a driving force behind innovation and progress. It offers the tools to revolutionize current procedures, open up fresh opportunities, and promote advancement in a number of fields. Technology is not static. Rather, it is ever evolving, allowing for a constant innovation in the ways that the jobs are completed and issues are resolved. Self expression and creativity are facilitated by the technology. People can now produce art, music, literature, and other types of media thanks to digital tools, softwares, and platforms. It extends the bounds of conventional creative expression and possibilities. And number three, technology becomes the mediation for distant education. While it is true that the distant education in the current context tends to be highlighting the use of technology as a bridge to finishing a course, students need to use technology to build a social interaction. Distant learners can now be reached by educational institutions thanks to technology. Physical obstacles are removed via online platforms, video conferencing, and digital materials, which enable anyone to access education from anywhere in the world. Technology enables distance education, allows for schedule and learning pace flexibility. Students can access course materials, take parts in discussions, and finish projects on their own schedule, taking into account a variety of obligation and lifestyles.
Okay, so before I begin the discussion, allow me to read first the learning objectives in Lesson 14, the Learning Management System. So at the end of this lesson, you are expected to explain the use of LMS or Learning Management System in instructional delivery, identify fundamental features of LMS, and discuss some innovations in using LMS. Okay, so we are here in lesson 14, the learning management system. So in this topic, we will be discussing about its definition, uses and characteristics of the LMS, the implementation issues of LMS, and the student-friendly features of LMS. Okay, so in both basic and higher education, technology is present. Yet, integration and use have generally been slow to change. Perhaps, some teachers who frown at the use of e-learning, web-based education, and learning management system. Nonetheless, technology is destined not to be left behind, but to be embraced and used for its potential education. It is very evident that technology is really useful when it comes to our educational system. Okay, so we have here the definition, uses, and characteristics of Learning Management System or LMS. So the LMS has been an essential tool in curriculum design and development and in organizing factors that motivate student learning, especially in online distance learning. So in fact, LMS or Learning Management System is useful even in the remote areas or remote locations wherein for both instructors and the learners can easily facilitate the learning progress better. So it is a software application designed to help in the administration of courses for both students and the instructors, just like what I said a while ago. So such systems have been designed for use in learning and teaching activities according to Chang et al. 2012. So the learning management system is a broad idea and an excellent example of technology and ability to be specific in terms of definition. So we have here the characteristics of learning management system or LMS. So we have 3: the repositories, central databases, and online meeting locations. So these repositories where users store and track information in one place. So for example, any user with a login and password can access the system and its online learning resources. So that's a repository. So just like our RMMC Canvas, that's one of our example of repositories. It consists of login and password, whereas students can access the system and its online learning resources. So the second characteristic is the central databases. This refers to a database that is located, stored, and maintained in a single location. While the online meeting locations, this is focuses on the communication between a large group of people. So online meeting communication locations refers to let people connect and meetings from remote locations. So online meeting locations used to communicate with audio, video, and chat. One of the examples of this is Gmeet. Gmeet, what else more? And other online online classes, yes. Okay. So a learning management system contains internal or web-based support and management for numerous aspects of learning and teaching. So we have here, according to Mazartal, Courts, and Peters 2012, He mentioned the three primary purposes of Learning Management System or LMS. Number one, to provide students with digital learning materials. Number two, to employ interactive learning activities with students in the forums. And the last is to manage the course and the learners.
Internet and web-based technologies have been integrated into educational systems worldwide. Learning management systems is the web-based systems that is most rapidly being adopted by a large number of colleges and universities. This system provides a variety of tools to assist students and instructors in teaching and learning processes in order to be more effective and flexible. However, since using this technology, many studies have shown a high level of criticism directed at the failure of LMS to create an interactive learning environment and to improve learning outcomes. Many studies were conducted to evaluate the effectiveness of this technology in relation to enhancing students' learning, to identify the problems and failure aspects of these systems. In addition, this seeks to discuss the causes of these problems and reasons behind such failures with reference to the main activities of online course management systems. This summarizes the main causes of LMS failure into technological, theoretical, and pedagogical aspects, which needs to be taken into consideration, especially with the new wave of adoption social media and Web 2.0 technologies in higher education. Despite the potential of learning management systems to support both blended learning and learning that is entirely delivered online, the majority of LMS supported e-learning initiatives in developing countries do not fulfill their potential. They fail, either totally or partially. To identify the underlying causes of failure, a survey was conducted through interviews with key e-learning personalities directly involved in e-learning initiatives in universities. Some of the most probable causes of failure were identified as high ICT illiteracy rates among the students community, low comfort levels with technology, usability issues of learning management systems, poor marketing strategies, ineffective maintenance strategies, and inefficient user or technical support. The dimensions of these causes of failure are discussed as the as are the probable interventions likely to avert some of them. The findings are intended to inform further research towards more successful deployment of learning management systems in developing countries.
Good morning, everyone. So let us continue to our discussion. I will be the one to discuss the student-friendly features of LMS. So, some of the major LMS features include content organization, communication option such as email, discussion boards, and chat rooms, and also file exchange, testing and evaluation tools, gradebook, analytics that help the instructor understand how students utilize the LMS content, and integration with campus portal. And also, the main function of an LMS or feature of LMS should be that you can easily deliver course content to your learners. So, it's essential to get an LMS that makes course creation as simple and straightforward as possible. A great LMS lets you drag, drop, and arrange content into place, making it easy to create course. In simple terms, an LMS allows you to create, deliver, and report on training course in programs. There are hundreds of LMS to choose from, each offering different features and capabilities. And with so many options, business can find the process of selecting an LMS that will meet their specific needs a real change. So, in choosing an LMS, it is important to consider how you plan to deliver training, then match your organization needs to an LMS that offers the corresponding features. So, there are some of the student-friendly features of LMS that should be considered when purchasing one. So, number one is of access to content at any time. This means that student can have a hassle-free access of identical learning content in the way all students are exposed to standardized educational system and keeping with learners' educational levels. So in most cases, the use of technology in teaching is means, not an end. So therefore, it is important that students and teachers have to spend a great deal of time on learning on how to use educational technologies or on making the technology works. Number two is high interactive level. In online learning, students can communicate through discussion boards and email. When the LMS has an SC environment that has features for interactivity, students can communicate frequently. Thus, they will feel that they are not alone despite their distance. Online education program must also be interactive and asynchronous, allowing students to respond anytime or anywhere. In simple terms, interactivity is an interaction between the learner and the module where the learner gives input and the module proceeds based on the input given by the learner. Thus, a simple click, drag and drop, or text input can be interactivity. In simulation games, augmented reality and virtual reality are on the higher end of interactivity spectrum. Next is excellent tracking and reporting. The LMS should be repository of records and could possibly police the progress of students. So tracking and reporting means that is not limited to the tracking of version, advertising design time, pre-media processing, and consumables all service level. Number four is security and privacy. One pro student of LMS is its ability to secure student files, records, and privacy. Moreover, it should have the ability to aid students in accessing academic advising in a safe and confidential environment. So, we strive to deliver a learning management system that secure and protects the privacy and security of learners and employees' data. So, to protect all of our user, we practice the responsible disclosure, which means we publicly announce issues that come to our attention only when fixes are available and after register. We take privacy into account every step of the way. With each new development for LMS, we considered how user data is captured, stored, and can be retrieved or removed as required to comply with the law. That help organizations ensure that their privacy compliance all extend to installed plugins or plugins in external to LMS. Last but not the least is flexible testing and assessment. Students should be able to access pre-test and post-test quizzes are easily. The LMS should provide a feature for formative assessment and is flexible enough to accommodate traditional, non-traditional, and alternative assessment strategy. So, inflexible assessment is by definition flexible. It is assessment designed to enable and facilitate student choice, such as in the method or format of their assessment or the topics on which they choose to focus. As such, it as an approach which emphasizes that role of assessment for learning. So next is LMS related innovation. Most learning management system allows access for numerous devices, including mobile devices, standalone, personal computers, or other network-capable technology. Brink and Lautenbach, 2011. Successful usage must include proper access, defined rules and responsibilities, and desire to enhance student experience and success. A key factor in the process is the use of the technology acceptance model. In addition, the ways hardware and users can access a learning management system can vary, with some accessing it by desktop computer while others accessing it via a mobile device. In the Philippines, a term or a team of research at Silliman University, Marshall, Ontef, Forster, T, and Curativo 2017 devised LMS in the sticks. It can work as an online functional LMS even with the absence of the internet. Through the use of the USB flash drive, the content can be transferable and manageable in other devices. Although not virus resistant, it has almost a complete set of online LMS features. One more innovation in LMS is the use of gamification. Students can play their favorite games while learning the content in the LMS. In this way, students can be engaged more in learning the concept. So, by embracing the LMS developments or related innovation, educational institution can stay ahead of the curve, providing their student with the best possible learning experience. From innovative online learning tools to interactive virtual classroom, the newest LMS technology are transforming the way educators deliver content and how students interact with their learning materials. With the help of this technology, educational institutions can bridge the gap between traditional and digital education, providing their students with truly interactive and engaging learning experience. Recognizing that students are better served by a flipped classroom where they watch lectures at home and complete assignment in the classroom. So introducing more technology in the classroom to create a blended classroom where students experience technology as they would in the real world.
And that concludes the discussion on Chapter 3. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. Thank you for listening and magandang RMMC.